This is cjhoyle. Today is Sunday, August the 8th, 2021, and I'm riding my bike on Kingston Road in Ajax, Ontario, and I'm just about to cross the intersection of Kingston Road and Westney Road. And in this video I'm going to be giving a narrated tour of Kingston Road, starting from here and riding all the way to Lakeridge Road, which forms the border between the Town of Ajax and the Town of Whitby. And one of the reasons why I decided to come and make a video of this road here is because it has a bike lane on it, and it's kind of a unique bike lane because it's just simply a painted bike lane with a painted buffer, but it sits on a pretty busy arterial suburban road. Ajax is a suburb of the city of Toronto, located to the east of it. It's a lower tier municipality, which is part of the regional municipality of Durham. And I'm filming this ride this morning at around 9:30 or so in the morning on a Sunday, so things are relatively quiet here. But if you were to come here during rush hour on a weekday, I'm sure many of these lanes of traffic would be pretty filled up. Westney Road, where we started, is a major north-south arterial. If you go further south from here on Westney, you would see the Ajax GO station, as well as a Highway 401 entrance and exit, interchange I guess you call it. Got a bit of a hill to climb here. So the community of Ajax dates back to the 1940s, or possibly the late 1930s, but mostly the 40s. And it was a community that was formed in a big part around World War II. Prior to then, this was just rural farmland, which is part of the township of Pickering. And a big shell plant was built here for building weapon shells for the war. And at its peak, it employed thousands of people here, and a small community started to form around this big factory that essentially was located in the middle of nowhere. And then following the war, when they no longer had need for all that ammunition, the community stuck, and for a few years following the war, that facility was used for education. It was occupied by the University of Toronto, who had their own little campus out here to help serve the boom of veterans who were returning from war who wanted to get a university education. This road we're about to cross up ahead is called Harwood Avenue, and Harwood is the name of the commander of a fleet of warships which were active in World War II. And one of the three ships that he commanded was the HMS Ajax. So when this community was looking for a name, they decided to name it after that warship, and also name this road after the commander of it. So the military history here runs really deep. Following the closing of the ammunitions plant and the education facility, which only lasted for maybe 5 or so years as they worked through that boom of lots of new students wanting education, there are other industries that got set up around here as well. But the community didn't really start to grow in a big way until closer towards the end of the 1900s. When it sort of morphed into a suburb of the larger city of Toronto. And this strip along here is very representative of what a typical Greater Toronto area suburb looks like. You've got these big wide roads with plazas and big box stores on either side. Considering Ajax was developed so much later than a lot of other small towns in Ontario, it doesn't really have a historic downtown, you know, where you'd have a tightly built set of buildings that all are along a main street. So the next road we're going to cross up ahead is called Salem Road, and it's another major north-south street, and it also has a Highway 401 exit on it. Exit and on-ramp interchange. I'm going to get a yellow light here. So this plaza here over on our left has a number of different things. It's got Canadian Tire store there. Further over that way there's a Cineplex Odeon movie theater, and you can also see a sign for Home Depot as well, and Walmart. And I believe further over that way as well, there's also the Ajax Costco store. So these bike lanes were built about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. Certainly within the regional municipality of Durham, Ajax seems to be ahead of all its neighbors in terms of building bike lanes and bike paths. Ajax also has a really fantastic waterfront down by Lake Ontario. In other communities like Pickering, there are portions of the waterfront which are privately owned. So the waterfront trail ends up being parts of trail, but also big parts where you're riding on neighborhood streets. Whereas the Ajax waterfront seems to be entirely owned by the municipality, which means that it's continuous, and because it's at the water, there's virtually no crossings of roads because roads don't go into the water, they end before the water. I did make a video a few years back where I rode along the Ajax waterfront trail, and it's somewhere that I'd like to get back to and make a video again. You can see there was a little gap there where the bike lane disappeared, but up ahead it's reappearing again as we ride across this marshland over on our right. It's good to see that I'm not the only person using these bike lanes today. As I was waiting at that stoplight, I was, of course, talking and narrating as I always do while I'm riding, and I just suddenly noticed him in the corner of my eye, nearly right beside me. He may have been wondering who I was talking to. So things are much more rural out here. There's kind of a gap between the developments along this road here, between Whitby and Ajax. You can see a farmer's field over to the right, which has hay bales in it. It may be a little bit hard to see from where I've got my camera mounted right now. Maybe I can swing the camera over here so you can see that. Yeah, that should work. So very much farmland here, but we'll keep on going. This intersection we just passed there is for a driveway which leads into the Ajax Downs, which is a horse racing venue. And Kingston Road that we're on right now is part of the former Ontario Highway 2. And I believe the reason it has Kingston in its name is because it used to be a road that was built to get you from Toronto out to Kingston, which is a community in the eastern part of Ontario. Although the name Kingston Road is used in Toronto for this road as well as Pickering, which is the other municipality between here and the city of Toronto. Further out beyond Ajax, through the town of Whitby, Highway 2 is renamed to Dundas Street, and it's also renamed again as you go through Oshawa, but I think there are other portions that still call it Kingston Road. It's a place on the right that's selling cobs of corn, presumably taken off one of these fields near here. And that, of course, should be sweet corn that they're selling. Where a lot of the corn that you see growing in Ontario is grain corn, which isn't harvested for eating off the cob. It's kept on the stalk longer, and the kernels are used for other purposes later in the season. We're just passing McMillan Orchards over here on the right. And this next intersection up ahead is Lakeridge Road, which is where I'll be ending the video. And like I said before, it forms the border between the town of Whitby and the town of Ajax. And sadly, because the town of Whitby isn't quite as ahead of its time as Ajax is with bike infrastructure, the bike lanes terminate here, so we'll have to find a different route to continue. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed joining me on this narrated tour. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.